Good morning. It is 25 past 5 in the morning. I'm at a place called Long Reef in Sydney's northern beaches. Slight little bit of colour just starting to come up on the horizon, but I don't think we're going to see too much simply because there's a lot of cloud on the horizon. I'm just looking for a composition. Very, very low tide, so just challenging, you know. Sometimes you come to these places, I've been here several times before and I knew low tide was a probably more challenging time, but there's other opportunities when you come somewhere at a different time to what you normally have. So I'm just looking around to see what I can find. Yeah, I'll have to keep searching, see what I can find from a composition. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for foreground interest, and of course it's pretty dark still. I don't know if you can see all that, but it's very low tide, so I'm not sure how slippery it's going to be or how far I should go out. The tide is going to continue going out, so I don't have any fear of wandering out. I always check the tide, which is a good idea if you're going to come out and do some seascape photography. Just check and see what the tides are doing. Not feeling it yet, you know? Not feeling the vibe. So I'm going to go and have a look at some of these rocks over here and see if I can find a rock to set up against, and maybe I'll find a composition that I like. But until then, it's hunting for a spot. Well, it's super windy, but I think I found myself a composition I'm happy with. Unfortunately, not protected from the wind. There is a couple of spots I could have done that from. I don't know if you can see these rocks here in the foreground leading out there. What I'm hoping is if there is a bit of colour, that all the water behind those rocks will colour up nicely, and I'll get you know, that reflection off the sky in that water. There is a little bit of it now, just off that strip that we can see. So I'm just going to quickly set up here. Well, I'm all set up and got a composition I'm happy with. I'm just playing around a little bit with moving or changing the amount of foreground I've got. There's a huge amount of texture in the sand in front of me, and it looks really nice. There's some sort of black sand in the lighter sand. Super windy, so I can actually feel the tripod is vibrating, and that worries me a little bit because that can obviously affect the sharpness of my shot. But just something that I'll have to deal with. There is a bit of colour, which is good, and it is reflecting off of the water as I suspected, which means that I'm going to get the shot that I'm after, which is awesome. Absolutely awesome. Just got to hope I don't get any camera shake from this wind. That wind is giving me a little bit of grief. I'm at f14, I'm getting about 8 seconds, well, when I say about, I'm getting exactly 8 seconds. So f14, 8 seconds, auto white balance. The base ISO on this is 100, I believe, which is what I'm on. I'm just going to move around a little bit, get a few different compositions. I don't know how much more intense that colour is going to get, if at all. It's not really that intense, so it may not get any more intense, but that's okay. I'm pretty happy with what I'm getting so far. I've just got to move around a little bit and try a couple of different compositions just to see what else I can get. And I think, you know, sometimes more foreground is good. Let's get more foreground in there. Sunrise is in 13 minutes, so I think the colour is going to go off. So I'm just going to play around a little bit more here, get the composition that I'm really happy with, and then when the colour goes off, I'll be ready to grab it. And it's going to be interesting. I've got no filters that fit this particular lens. So we're going to be pushing the limits of the GFX 50S this morning, because I am shooting into the sun and I don't have any ND filters whatsoever. So I'm really quite keen to see how well it copes with this sort of conditions. Well, I'm going to keep shooting, and you know, I think I'll just keep getting this detail into this sand. I'll move my composition around a little bit and wait for that colour to come. About 8 minutes till sunrise, and right now the colour's not going off, but that's okay. I've moved around a little bit, got a few different compositions. The detail in the sand is really nice, so It does lend itself to moving around a fair bit and just getting different lines. All the lines in the sand give you this nice texture in your foreground, and then I've sort of put a rock in my foreground as well. So I've got the texture in the sand plus the rock. It works really, really well. So sometimes when it comes to composition, it's easy to walk past texture in the ground. But in a photograph, because it's actually two-dimensional, it works really well. It just becomes part of the pattern in the photograph. Well, it's sunrise right now, and I can see the very top at the tip of the sun, and the colour's going off a little bit. I think we sort of hit a mini jackpot. Still quite a lot of cloud, and that's making it not as vibrant as it could be. But sometimes what happens as the sun comes up is it just gives us a burst for a minute or two. So I am ready. I've got a composition I'm pretty happy with. A little bit of colour in the sky, not a huge amount, but enough to excite me. Yeah, that sun is coming up, looking beautiful right now. I'm not 100% sure of the dynamic range of this sensor. I know it's good, so I'm not too worried, but I haven't quite worked out the best settings yet. So I just got to I'm just trying a few different things until I get what works. But there's definitely some colour in the sky, so I'm going to do a portrait one as well. Just see how that goes. Things are going off. The sunrise is happening, and I've got a full sun, but it's sort of filtered by a bit of cloud, and that's working in our favour. The composition that I've got is in portrait. You'll see I've got the camera in portrait, and the reason why that's sort of appealing to me, I think, is being the medium format setup. I think that the portrait orientation really worked. I've got the sun coming up. I've got a stripe of colour across the water. If you have a look, the sun's coming up just here. I've got these rocks in the foreground, but it's on a sort of a portrait orientation, a bit hard to explain. But that gives you an idea of what I'm shooting, and really I'm picking up all of this texture here in the sand, and that's making for a pretty nice shot. Well, overall, a pretty good morning for my second sunrise shoot with this GFX. Once again, thanks to the people over at Fujifilm Australia for letting me have a little lend and have a go at it. Really loving it so far. I'm interested to see how it handled the dynamic range this morning for this sunrise shoot. I think it's going to have done all right. Besides being windy, wasn't a bad morning, wasn't the best sunrise I've ever had, but you know what? It's sure beats sitting at home sleeping in, doesn't it? You know, I know for some of you sleeping in is important. For me, I love it if I can get out and about, and at least it's not raining or anything. So yeah, beautiful morning. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, consider subscribing. If you like landscape photography and you like this kind of content, then please feel free to subscribe. And until next time, get out and take some photos. See ya.